WrestleBuddy Podcast. All about wrestling. Subscribe and follow for more content.
Welcome, WrestleBuddies, to our weekly podcast with our weekly roundup of the action in the wrestling world. I'm joined today by Zane and by Joe, our regular TNA expert. Welcome, guys. How are we doing?
Okay, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Tell you what, we've got a lot to unpack today, to be fair, haven't we?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've got me new little gizmos here, so let's give a big cheer for Biggie. And it's a good place to start with, any.
Yeah.
Don't know. Do you know what? I'm happy he won the title. I really am happy he won the title. I just feel like it's a bit stained about the way it was done.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that he tweeted it out and then it was kind of there. Then he was in the first segment, and yeah. All right, fair dues. I feel like it was more of a ratings grab by WWE than anything else. What's your thoughts, Ian?
Yeah, I feel like Raw. It was basically a response to Raw getting beaten by AEW in the demo. I mean, that's a pretty big deal for AEW. I'm sorry, am I facing connectivity issues?
Okay, Joe, what did you think on this one?
I thought it was cheap as well. You know, Biggie, I know he won Money in the Bank, so obviously he's cashed in and won it that way, but he could have been built up to win it like anybody else, and he should have been built up to win it like everybody else, really. You know, he didn't need to go all the way through Money in the Bank to win it. He's a superstar, and he's a five-star athlete, you know, and the way to get him to do it that way, just to grab a bit of attention because of AEW, wants to get out doing WWE is just a bit petty, but I'm pleased for him, and I've already saying congratulations to him. And I don't even watch the WWE, but I saw the message.
I mean, my biggest thing was, all right, fair dues, he won it through the Money in the Bank, which is absolutely fine. I feel like a cash-in should be kind of, the cash it in at the start, like, at the end of a match and do a surprise cash-in. Or you go down the route of cash it in and take a match.
Yeah.
Which is, and he took it, he cashed in at the end of a great match. That's fine. But I just feel like the way they use social media and stuff, I just felt like it wasn't planned too much. I thought it was like a ratings grab.
Yeah, it's like, guess what's happening.
And it shows to me, like, tune in, this is what you're going to see. And to me, it shows that as much as they probably won't admit it, WWE getting a bit worried about AEW. What's your thoughts on that, Zane?
Yeah, as I was saying, sorry for the short connectivity turbulence, but I feel like there could have been a better way to do this, but I agree with you, Andy. It was more of a ratings grab. AEW beat Raw in the target demo, the 18 to 49 demographic, and that's a big deal for AEW. And now Raw had to strike back in some manner. And as we've seen within this past year, Raw hasn't been that good. They haven't put any noteworthy matches or events on the show itself, so they needed something to grab the attention. And plus, they are going against Monday Night Football, which is a big deal back over there, across the pond in the US. So I feel like Biggie cashing in, there could have been a better way to do that. But again, it was an attention grab. It was a ratings grab. It was probably something that WWE was worried about AEW beating them in the demo, and they went like, oh, we need to do something. Let's put Biggie on the show and let's announce that he's cashing in.
See, what I think as well is with them having to do the type of this ratings grab, is it shows the lack of storytelling. Because for me personally, one thing that I go back with the Attitude Era, and to an extent the Ruthless Aggression era, it was, and even in the olden days, back in the 90s and 80s, when I was very little, by the way, but I still watched it then, was I'd tune in to see what was going to happen next. So, say, for instance, it was Austin's story, but not just say Austin, but, bear in mind, mid-card is my big issue with WWE. Really, really big peeve of mine of, back in let's look at 97, for instance. You had Austin at the top of the card with McMahon and all that kind of story going on. In the middle of the card, you had two future Hall of Famers and future superstars in Triple H and The Rock with the Nation and the DX respectively. And that was a massive mid-card feud. Do you know what I mean? You had Ken Shamrock feuding with Owen Hart. There was a lot of different stories that were going on. And that's what kept me entertained throughout the show, was the different stories throughout. But also, the next week, it might not be Austin's story that made me tune in next week. It might have been the Nation story, or it could have been I wanted to see what was going on with Al Snow and Head, or it could have been thing. But due to the fact that all these stories were going on, there was always one kind of story that made me want to watch the next week. And now I feel like they're throwing all their eggs into the main event basket, and the rest of it's just an afterthought.
Yeah, it's been like that for a very long time for me.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree with. I share this. Yeah, I share the same sentiments, because if you even compare with AEW right now, for I guess it was earlier this year we had Blood and Guts going on, and then there was your main title feud, and then there even now you have Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black. You have MJF versus Brian Pillman, which you want to see what happens next. Now, over on Raw or SmackDown, they're all centered about the main event scene. And now you have Roman coming over to Raw just to give Raw that ratings boost. And this seems like a very act coming out of desperation for WWE right now. And they're putting
Sorry, go on, Zane.
Yes. Yeah, I was saying they're putting, as you said, all their eggs in one basket. They've transported Roman over to Raw, and they're doing all they can. But as a matter of fact, they don't have that much drawing power within the stories.
Yeah, totally get you. I mean, the one thing is just to, we're going to round off on Raw now, because I don't feel like there's much else to talk about on there. Just to make a point about the mid-card feud, the Vacant Raiders and Drew McIntyre versus Rhea Shanky and Jinder Mahal. Okay, so Drew has been feuding with Jinder Mahal, fine, but what's the Viking Raiders got to do with this? Why are they've just been put there just because it's like, okay, we've got to put two people with Drew. There's no story behind it. There's no reason or rhyming. There's no reason for that to be happening. It's just pop them there. And one other match I want to mention off Raw is, if you are not going to tell a story and you're just going to go down this route of throwing matches together in the middle, Damian Priest versus Jeff Hardy is the type of match that I'm wanting to watch. That match for me doesn't need a storyline. Just the fact that putting them two together makes me want to tune in and watch that match, because just based on a pure wrestling match, on the presentation of a match rather than, and so if you're going to do stuff like that, then at least put it where they put two competitors together where you think, this could be a really good match, and it's enough for you to tune into.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, apart from that on Raw, not really a lot that I really want to discuss. I mean, obviously, Nikki ASH versus Tamina and Rhea Ripley versus Natalya, two singles matches trying to create this feud here. Obviously, it looked like Nikki and Rhea are going to go for tag team titles. Not interested. I know it sounds I'm not interested at all. Doudrop, I feel so sorry for her with the way she's being presented and stuff. Apart from that, nothing else. Is there anything else anybody else has got on Raw? Because I'm struggling with it, to be fair.
No, not really. No, the biggest highlight for me has been knowing that Big E's got the world title, but even that,
I don't think so.
That's going to be like a ratings grab, and that's going to be gone by Crown Jewel, I think.
Okay, so we're going to move on to NXT next. Obviously, we'll try and just run through the WWE stuff. Then we'll pass to you, Joe, to do TNA, and then we'll finish off with some nice AEWs to finish off on a high. NXT 2.0. What's your thoughts on it? Did you watch? I know, Joe, obviously you don't watch it. Zane, did you watch it? What did you think?
Yeah, the names are stupid for one, because you have Rick Steiner's son. His name is. We have a very cool name in Rex Steiner. They could have called him Rex Steiner, but they went with Braun Breaker, and it's even spelled with two K's. Now, that might not be the biggest of my concerns, but what went on during the show, now, I was a big fan of the wedding itself. The segment itself was great, but I had some gripes with the Fatal 4-Way match because you had LA Knight take a loss in the opening match of the same show, and then he's competing for the NXT Championship in the main event.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, that doesn't make sense. That it only damages LA Knight.
No, I mean,
Why did
let's
that happen?
face it. Let's face it, mate. LA Knight's not going to go anywhere in WWE. He's all what they don't want.
He's in the same trap EC3 was in.
It's like whether we agree with it or not, you know.
Yeah. Well, I can see him going straight down the same route EC3 did. It's as soon as he goes up to the main roster, it's 24/7. Then that's it. He's gonna walk.
If he even gets the 24/7 level jump, they might just use him because let's face it, he's a very good wrestler, and they might use him to further the talent that they've got in NXT rather than actually pushing him himself. You know.
Yeah.
I agree with you on the Fatal 4-Way, Zane. I thought if they were going to go down the route of having LA Knight lost, I would have kept Kyle O'Reilly in the match. And instead, I would have moved LA Knight out of it by losing the match, but I would have put him against Von Wagner in the opening match. And just say, okay, kid, you've beat him. Now it's your opportunity. Go get him. You know what I mean? If that was the route that they wanted to go down, because, you know, by Bron Breaker, whatever his name is, winning, it doesn't necessarily, as you said, it doesn't make LA Knight look great going into that Fatal 4-Way. But also, it doesn't really progress Bron Breaker because, you know, he's beat LA Knight, but what has he gained from it? What's the reason for it? Do you know what I mean? And that's always my thing with wrestling is like there needs to be a reason. If there's no reason, what's the point in doing it?
Yeah, I feel like they even teased towards the end after Ciampa won the title that the closing images of NXT were Ciampa and Braun Breaker standing head to head. So Andy, my question to you is: do you reckon that they could put the title on Braun Breaker and give him the Brock Lesnar push, and maybe he gets the title, maybe he moves on to the main roster because he does have that build?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I liked it. I liked NXT. I thought it had a very 1996 feel to it. I really liked it. The only thing I'm going to say is typical WWE style. They turn around and go NXT 2.0, the new beginning, new everything. Let's have the man in the match that's the only one that's had the title winning. You know, they could have turned around and give it to that, you know, the new lad or LA Knight or whatever. But let's give it to the man that's been in NXT for 7 years. Even though we want to go away from that old NXT and we want to have the new look NXT. Let's give the championship to the old guard, if it were. You know.
Yeah.
As I say, if Von Wagner would have won it, it wouldn't have worried me.
Yeah, I feel like they had to build some sort of familiarity with the title because you have Ciampa, who's a known name, and then you also need some viewers, and they have to retain the same viewership because the old. See, NXT was seen as an independent alternative to what the main roster presented to his fans. And then you have Ciampa, a guy who's been in PWG and Progress Wrestling, and he's made his name. Now, giving him the title might retain some of those viewership, while the rest of it seems more like FCW 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I can say that is just like, yeah, I get this, and you want to try and keep the old fans, which is great. But sometimes it seems to me like Vince or whoever it is in the backstage things, if we put 2.0 in front of it or we change it, this is new viewers. It's not.
Yeah,
the same
it's
people.
not. People are just people are shaking their head. And some of them.
Yeah.
I saw the fans' reaction to the new logo on SmackDown last week. They were a bit booing it when they saw the whole thing come up. You know,
I don't mind it. I don't mind the new logo. Look, NXT.
I think it's just the idea. I think it's just the idea that everything's been changed so quickly with no reason to it. It's just it doesn't. It's not.
People just don't like change, do they? I mean, the one thing that I just think is, I really like the way that they debuted these new stars. I think that should be happening all the time in NXT. That's what it's there for. So it should be happening like that.
Definitely.
I like Tommaso as well. It's not a dig on Tommaso, but you could have had Pete Dunne, going through there. You could have had LA Knight as a new champion going into a new era instead of You know, just going back to the old guard again. And as I say, it's not a slight on Ciampa. It's just, as I say, typical WWE and the fact that the new era, the new thing, and same stuff really, isn't it? But all in all, not a bad show. Anything else you want to say on NXT, Zane, before we move on?
Yeah, no, I think pretty much that's all. You've pretty much recapped it quite well.
So. Okay. So we move on to Raw. Sorry, SmackDown.
I hope we don't go to Raw again.
No, we definitely won't be going back. Jesus, no. But let's get SmackDown out the way, and then once we've done that, that's our WWE recap done and dusted. So start off the show, we had Roman Reigns come out, very, very reliable, and we know he's going to cut a very good promo, as he does on, just weekly now. It's not there's no worry of him cutting a bad promo. And then Big E comes out, which I thought was a bit strange, but I wasn't against it. I thought, okay, Mr. Money in the Bank won the title, carry it over on the field, good to SmackDown, not mad at it. And then it comes up with Finn Balor and Big E versus the Usos. Thought it was a very good match. Didn't really think that Big E and that needed to win, but I didn't think the Usos needed to win either, so I wasn't really worried about who won what on this one. But I thought, one thing that I will say about this match is sometimes when you see two people in the main card or the upper echelons of the card and the tag team, one of them, they're always trying to one-up each other, or someone's fighting for kind of to be the supremacist in the match. And I felt like in the end, the both of them got in what they needed to, and it worked quite well.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, but I feel like you have Big E, he's the WWE champion. I thought they were taking some light away from the fact that he was WWE champion when he was set in an opening tag team match against the Usos, and it was just quite weird that all of it happened off air. Like, he comes out, Roman comes out, he comes out, Balor comes out. I thought there was going to be an exchange of words between them, but then we cut to break, and then there's a tag team match out of nowhere. And also coming back to Roman Reigns, I feel like he has a lot on his plate right now, and even though it could be a good thing, I feel like it's taking away from the current goal that he has ahead of him, like Finn Balor, the Demon Finn Balor. Like, the Demon is a big deal, but they've already announced that Brock Lesnar is facing Roman Reigns, and it kind of gives away the result of Demon versus Roman Reigns. Now, be it like many of us might not have been thinking that Demon was going to win anyway, but there was.
Does the Demon win?
No, I don't think so. Now, I was I was 90-10 that Roman was winning, but I'm 100% sure because the whole narrative behind Brock Lesnar coming back is that he wants the Universal Championship. So if the Demon wins the title, then why is Brock facing Roman at Crown Jewel?
But does he need the title, or does he want Heyman back? Or does he want to get back at Heyman? There's a story there that doesn't necessarily need the title involved. And also, I don't know whether you've seen the announcements of the Bloodline versus the New Day.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. I feel like, again, we're back to this ratings grab by announcing that on Raw. But it'd be interesting. So this is how I'm going to call it. Whether I'm right or wrong, I'm probably going to be 100% wrong, but I feel like Roman Reigns loses the title to the Finn Balor. He moves to Raw and goes after Big E on a kind of Bloodline versus the New Day with the championship involved, and that goes on for a while, maybe accumulating the Royal Rumble, because they could get a 6-man tag out of it at Survivor Series, or they could even add in the likes of Naomi and maybe somebody on the New Day side, and kind of have if Bianca Belair gets traded over to Raw, you could have her in with the New Day to go against them, which would be an interesting little dynamic. But it's got a storyline that could travel on for a while, and I don't think we get too bored of it. And then that way, you can have the one-off match between Brock and Roman at Crown Jewel. Even if Brock wins, it's not going to hurt anybody because there's no title on the line. Me personally, I'd have Roman win it. And then Roman wins the title back around the Royal Rumble stage, sets up Brock and Roman for WrestleMania. What's your thoughts
Yeah,
on
but I
that?
feel like Roman's been undefeated in what, over a year right now,
Mhm.
and do you think that they would really give him a loss to Finn Balor, who's 40 years old right now? I know that he's a great wrestler, and I'm a big fan of his. I've been a fan of his since his New Japan days. But do
Mhm.
you think that they give him the belt over Roman Reigns, who's their biggest thing? And then again, it's crown jewel. It's Saudi Arabia. They need to have the title on the line because we need to understand what type of audience they're catering to over there. Now, if it would have been Survivor Series, then I might have entertained the thought that Balor might take the title of Reigns. But
I
I'm
just think that. Sorry to butt in on you there. I just feel like Roman versus Brock doesn't need the belt, and I think the belt hinders the story here because if he's got the belt, Roman, there's only one winner of this match, and I feel like they want to progress this story further, a lot further on into the future, and I feel like the belt could get caught up in the, where you could have Roman on Raw with a ready-made nemesis in a Big E, with the Bloodline and the New Day story and everything else that goes on. It's a big story to be told there that can be told quite well. You could have Jimmy Uso versus Xavier Woods, Jimmy Uso versus Kofi, Kofi versus Jey Uso, Kofi versus Roman Reigns versus Xavier. There's loads of ways to keep that feud interesting, but without actually having them in a one-on-one match until the culmination of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
And
the WWE's like they're gonna put the title up, make it about the belt because I think that's the bigger selling point of the whole thing.
Oh yeah. I just feel like
It
Roman
doesn't
going after
it's like
Big
yeah, but I agree, but title doesn't need to be on in the match, and if Finn Balor wins it, that's fantastic. But I see it, Roman Reigns is going to be champion when he's facing Brock Lesnar because, like Zane said, you got the Vince McMahon's pandering to the what he thinks the crowd wants.
Yeah, but the thing is, as well, is that he might still get that by putting the belt on the line by Finn Balor.
Yeah,
defending that belt, not necessarily Roman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
And
Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are the two big draws in for this.
No, I know that, but that's why I'm saying though, if you have them two, and then you have a WWE title match as well, in the form of Finn Balor versus somebody, to the Saudis, they're looking, thinking, oh, we're getting a lot of bang for our buck here. We're getting 2 championship matches, Roman and Lesnar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like Hogan Rock. It doesn't need a title.
Yeah, but Vince McMahon's all eggs in one basket.
Yeah. Well, maybe with them going against the Bloodline versus the New Day, maybe they'll see that storyline there and have to try and get something going on there. Do you know what I mean? When we got Clash of Champions though, because that's interesting as well.
I feel like it's in November. I think maybe before Survivor Series.
Yeah, so we might even get Survivor Series, New Day, Bloodline again, and then Clash of Champions. Obviously, the two of them versus each other. But we'll move on from there for now. Obviously, we've got a lot of other things to cover. Elsewhere on SmackDown, we had Boogs versus Rude. That just ran to me, so I thought I'd say about that match. Obviously, Pat McAfee must dance. So Nakamura or Boogs never lose. So because they need to go and dance on the table with McAfee, don't they? Happy Corbin attack Kevin Owens. Far too many run-ins for my liking. Chef Edge. See, again, with this same thing about mid-card, Liv Morgan and Toni Storm defeated Carmella and Savannah Vega because we couldn't be bothered our arse to tell a story or put anything else in there. So we just threw them two together because they were sitting in catering. Liv Morgan might have went over and decided to eat a pasta with Tony.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. But my question is, or my query is that why didn't they put Zelina Vega on the pre-last show? Like, she was booked and then they cut her, even though her father was a victim in the 9/11 incident, and she could have even out of character said a few words about it. That's
it was sad that they didn't do it with the 9/11 and the would have been a nice way for it to honor the father, wouldn't it? Which is a shame. Just gonna have a quick, very rant on this. Why Liv Morgan with Toni Storm? What's the reason they come together? Why are they even getting in the ring together? What's the whole story on this? As a fan, they're the questions I want answering. You know what I mean? Why have you just decided to throw them two together? Are they friends? Are they if they're being upset by Zelina and Carmella somewhere along the way, did one of them get attacked and ask the other one to help? Just nothing there. It's just put together, thrown together.
You're asking too much, Andy. Like, it's WWE. They don't want to make sense of their mid-card feuds.
Yeah. And then we see Bianca Belair in the homecoming celebration. Really good spot, this one. Like the way that they use Kane as well. Here's our superstar there, we. I like the way they brought Glenn Jacobs Kane out to do that. He's obviously the mayor of Tennessee, Knox County, Tennessee. I like Becky in this. I thought she was really good. Still not taking it as a heel, but she's trying. She's having a go. And also, one thing I want to ask you is, do you not think Becky Lynch is starting to dress like a female Seth Rollins?
I was feeling like she's starting to dress like a female Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
But like Seth Rollins upped anyone on that card last night. He was wearing aluminum foil to the ring, so I don't know how anyone tops that.
Yeah, but no, SmackDown for me was poor. But let's move on to some hopefully positive news. I have caught a bit of Impact this week, like the news and stuff like that, Joe, and it looks very positive over that way. What can you tell us on this side of it, mate?
All right. Firstly, Rhino has signed a new contract with Impact Wrestling. We're not sure on how long it is, but given the direction he's taken this week, this week he was taken out by Violent by Design after losing again. In a match against Decay. This time it was like the last straw for Eric Young, so he's taken Rhino out completely, and this could be leading to Heath's return to Impact Wrestling now, given that Heath has been trying to reach out to Rhino online and bumping up Impact Wrestling online over the past few weeks, and so now Rhino's contract's been extended. I've got a feeling we'll be seeing Heath out before Bound for Glory, and we might be getting his first match back at Bound for Glory. Deonna Purrazzo and Mickie James is being built up for Bound for Glory. That's set in stone. Now we had her attack Mickie James at NWA 73. She's not got a match on Victory Road, which is tonight, but Deonna Purrazzo attacked Mickie James again this Thursday, or vice versa, and it's becoming concrete that Impact Wrestling is investing a lot in Mickie James versus Deonna Purrazzo for Bound for Glory. So that's going to be one of the matches to watch come Bound for Glory. And Impact Wrestling are bumping it now, hammering it home now. This is going to be better. It's not just going to be a one-on-one match for the Knockouts title. Josh Alexander is going into his match with Chris Sabin tonight with a huge momentum boost after beating Brian Myers in the 10-man tag team match that was on Thursday. He pinned Brian Myers. He's not on the card, so nobody else on the night has lost any momentum. But this is once again hammering home that Josh Alexander is most likely going to beat Chris Sabin to cement himself as one of the greatest X Division titles champions of all time. Chris Sabin is an eight-time X Division champion. Josh Alexander has held it since Rebellion, so back in April, and he's every match he's had with it has been match of the year contender, he's been absolutely incredible, and the fact that hopefully this might get him to re-sign his contract in February when it's due to expire. But they're really hammering home that Josh Alexander is the breakout star of 2021. And earlier on this week, Knockouts Knockdown was announced that it will be airing on October the 9th. It's already been taped. It was taped September the 17th as part of a taping from the 17th to the 20th of September. People confirmed on the card include Lady Frost, Renee Michelle, Mercedes Martinez have been confirmed on the card. They've got a tribute match to Daphne in a Monsters Ball match set up in tribute to Daphne. And there's going to be appearances from Melissa Santos, Vader Scott, and Mickie James on commentary. And as announcers for the card, that's coming.
I hope they some way help to. Sorry to butt in, Joe. I hope they some way manage to incorporate Crowbar and somewhere along the line there. That'd be a really nice touch.
It would.
Yeah.
And but that's due to come on October the 9th on Impact Plus. So right before Bound for Glory. So it's going to be it's great to see that come back, and hopefully it'll be a yearly event too. So it's great to see them capitalizing is the wrong word. They're continuing on the momentum that Empowered brought when Mickey James brought that back, and the fans have been calling for Knockouts Knockdown to come back for ages. So this is a perfect time to get it. It shows the working relationship that NWA and Impact Wrestling have is back on track. Again, thanks to Mickey James getting Billy Corgan to see some sense and just put the past behind him and move on. So Impact's got a lot to thank Mickey James for, and hopefully this might even shift something for AEW. They might be considering putting an event together for all their women. It might be something just to give them an idea now. If Impact's done it and NWA's done it, so there's no reason to say AEW doesn't do it now, and I've got no gripes with that at all. Yeah. And speaking of Victory Road, I've got a rundown of the whole card tonight. We got PT Williams versus TJP versus Steve Macklin in a triple threat match after this rivalry spiraling out of control between all three of them now. And this is going to be highly competitive, I can guarantee. We got Matt Cardona versus Rohit Raju in a no disqualification match. So we're finally going to see that dark side of Matt Cardona come out now. No DQ after Rohit Raju Tiger knee Chelsea Green in the face, knocked her out completely. So Matt Cardona's pissed, and now we're going to see that deathmatch style coming, I think. Tennille Dashwood versus
Matt Cardona.
I do. I think he's absolutely redeemed himself. Coming to in AEW and Impact Wrestling and GCW, he's rebuilt himself completely after the long stint he had in WWE. You honestly you forgot how good he was. You got Tennille Dashwood versus Taylor Wilde. It's a grudge match. We got Finn Juice versus Chris Bay and Hikuleo from the Bullet Club. Eddie Edwards and Sammy Callahan, two guys who can't stand each other, but have been forced together thanks to Christian, and now they have forced together again to take on Moose and W. Morrissey. And this is going to be really, really good. I can see that coming. It's probably going to be one of the matches to steal the night, to steal the whole show if the latter don't beat it. But this match is what they did on Thursday night. If you missed that, you might have some time to catch it. That was awesome. Then working together in the 10-man tag match on Thursday. So this event tonight is going to be awesome. We've then got Jessica Havoc and Rosemary of Decay versus Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans for the Knockouts Tag Team titles. This is this is going to be good. The right team is going for it. It's going to be a great way to really introduce the fans to Savannah Evans a bit more. It's great to see. It's showing the new direction Tasha Steelz has gone in a bit more now that, and it's going to be a great. I think Decay have got this match won, but it's not going to damage Tasha Steelz or Savannah Evans if they lose this match. It's just going to add to their character more, and it's just a great way to keep the titles going. We've then got a tag team title match between Rich Swann and Willie Mack versus the Good Brothers, and that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing. Willie Mack and Rich Swann and their title shot a couple of weeks back, and Willie Mack's been battling injuries from Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows throughout the past couple of weeks. So he managed to make a return. Headphones.
Oh, looks like we got a bit of a technical geography difficulties going on there. Yeah. My little buddy, aren't you, Sammy? Take the headphones off. Ask Sammy what he thought of Raw.
Yeah, I think Sammy just gave his opinion on what he thought of Raw, and now he's actually wiped off the whole list of matches I have, but I do know the rest of them. After the tag team title match, we've got Josh Alexander versus Chris Sabin for the X Division title, which is most likely going to be match of the night for me. And then we've got Ace Austin versus Christian Cage for the world title. And
I think Christian's opposite there.
I think Ace Austin might actually win this match. On the prediction show I did with the TNI guys, I think I said Christian Cage, but there's rumors that Christian Cage went to the AEW tapings without the Impact World title around his waist and things like that. So if Ace Austin wins it, then that's going to be great. But either way, I think after this match, it's going to still lead to Ace Austin headlining Bound for Glory, because Ace Austin is looking to become the youngest world champion. So if he doesn't win it tonight, I think he's going to definitely get it on by Bound for Glory. And Ace Austin is another guy that Impact Wrestling are pushing right back up to the top after a really, really rocky end to last year. He came back after a very, very buggy run with Madman Fulton for the tag team titles in January. He won the Super X Cup. He then became X Division champion for the second time, losing it to Josh Alexander at Rebellion. And now we've got Ace Austin back in the main title picture again at Bound for Glory, just after a year after he was there beforehand. And that's all we have for Impact Wrestling.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks very much, mate.
Thank you.
Looks like Impact Wrestling. And one thing I wanted to ask you about Impact, just as a bit of a segue, but
yeah,
there's been a lot of stuff I've seen recently. People have mentioned to me in comments when we've been having conversations is about the Impact tag team division.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Impact is leading the way in the tag team division at present? Because it doesn't seem like, I know AEW have got the Young Bucks, that's another story, but in terms of strength and depth and actually storytelling within a tag team division, do you feel like Impact are getting stronger?
Definitely. I think the problem that AEW has is it's relying too much on star power. They've got Santana and Ortiz, Pentagon and Phoenix. Those guys were, between them, I think it was 7-time tag team championship from Impact Wrestling between them. Santana and Ortiz had it at least 4 times, and Pentagon and Phoenix at least twice. So that's about 6. So 6 or 7 times champion. And those guys should have been top of the table in the tag team division from the get-go at AEW.
Yeah.
And Impact Wrestling, they seem to know how to develop the teams they got. They put guys together and girls who have good chemistry together. They got even Violent by Design, Eric Young and Dina and Joe Doring. The chemistry they have together, 3 guys who you wouldn't expect to work together, they work well together. Rich Swann and Willie Mack, former X Division champions. Rich Swann's former World Heavyweight champion. They gel together instantly, and even when Josh Alexander was tag team champion, he came into Impact Wrestling as a singles wrestler, and Ethan Page just said to them, "Let me work Josh Alexander. We'll get our tag team back together." They were the Monster Mafia, I think they were called originally, outside of Impact Wrestling, and then they changed their name to the North in Impact Wrestling. So they were a tag team outside of Impact Wrestling. They had that chemistry, but they never really got to showcase it on television. So, and Ethan Page got them together, and we saw just how good Josh Alexander was, and we're seeing how it going the other way. Now Josh Alexander is broken away from tag team division. We're seeing how he's working as a singles competitor. So Impact Wrestling have got a great way of taking guys who can go solo and put them into a team, and guys who can go into a team and make them go solo. Like Trey Miguel's another example. There's just so many different guys on Impact's roster, and Eddie Edwards, of course. Just can't forget Eddie Edwards. He's a 5-time tag team champion, and I can't believe I forgot him. Just Impact Wrestling. If they've got the strong tag team division, they've got guys who know how. Like I said, they can work any position they're put in, and they just get on and do it. There's very, very little breaks, and there's very, very little pressure on them to get on.
Okay.
They just get on.
Brilliant. All right, well, we're going to go from there, and we're going to slide through the Forbidden Door and go over to Lakers and that. And then we're going to go to AEW, and we're going to start with AEW Dynamite. Now, my first point I want to jump onto this one is first match. Thought great opening with Adam Cole, Bebe versus the Elite Hunter, Frankie Kazarian. Great match. I said this last week, I felt like it was a perfect match for Adam Cole on his way in. Frankie seems to do really well with guys coming on the in because he's a great technical wrestler. And I thought Adam Cole didn't miss a beat here, and it was a really solid match, and I really enjoyed this match. What was your thoughts, Ian?
Yeah, the one major thing I noticed was when CM Punk came out for commentary, the pop was huge, but a louder pop was for Adam Cole when he came out, and the match itself was quite good. you have Frankie Kazarian. He's a very good and professional wrestler, but his gimmick honestly sucks. I know we're supposed to be talking about Adam Cole over here, but Frankie Kazarian is the bounty hunter who can't hunt. He's always late. There's no reason for him to have that gimmick. Even after SCU broke up, he's trying to find reason. And whenever the Elite come out, you have imagine you're Frankie Kazarian, you're in the backstage, and you see Elite's theme song go out. Their entrance music plays, and you don't go out and save their victims. You always come in late. So I don't understand what Frankie Kazarian is doing. His character is doing. As a wrestler, amazing wrestler, Adam Cole. Then, as you said, didn't skip a beat. He's still one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. He's over, like he's hugely over. And I'm like, as you said, as comparing to Raw, this is a mid-card feud that I want to see what happens next.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention as well is I don't know whether any of you guys are familiar with Being the Elite on YouTube.
Yeah.
I watch it quite regularly. It's just something that I pick up when I'm watching stuff through the week, maybe when I'm getting on a train or whatever. On the Being the Elite this week, it was kind of, Adam Cole was there with them and whatnot, and he's like, I'm going to go and see Adam. And they're like, where's Adam? And they're like, oh, dude, you know, like this. And then they tried to hand him a can, and it was like the same what they done to him when they killed him in Being in the Elite. And he went, oh, I'll have this later, and he put it in his pocket and stuff, and just little things like that where I feel to myself, maybe they're sitting there laying the pipework for the future, turn away for Adam Cole away from the Elite.
Yeah, I feel like I have picked up on certain things, like when he debuted, he didn't hug or he turned his back to Kenny Omega. And when Bryan Danielson came out, Omega and the Good Brothers went out of the ring, and Adam Cole and the Bucks remained in the ring to have a small brawl with Danielson and the Jurassic Express. So I feel like there's this division being formed in the Elite, and now we have the Super Clique being reformed, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. And when Kenny Omega came out later that night, the Bucks weren't with him. And I think the Good Brothers, like it's a good thing that they aren't associated with the Elite, or maybe they are, but they weren't in the show last Wednesday. But I feel like they are teasing this eventual turn that Adam Cole might break up the Elite, and I'm all for a singles feud between Kenny Omega and Adam Cole. Just feed that shit into my veins.
100%. What's your thoughts on Adam Cole, Joe?
I've not seen a huge amount of him. The name sounds familiar, but I'm listening to what you're saying about the way the direction seems to be going. I think it's the right way to go. I think the whole Elite thing should start break up now. You know, like Frankie Kazarian's got no direction at the moment, it seems. And you know, the Elite was really there mostly to rival the Inner Circle, and now Chris Jericho's gone, so there's no real reason for it to be around anymore. Apart from Cody Rhodes and Dustin Reynolds, and even that they're not fully involved with the Elite anymore. So I don't see any reason for it to be there. No, Omega's not part of it now. The Young Bucks are distancing themselves, so it's slowly breaking apart. But as long as they slowly break it apart, don't just shatter it apart out of the blue, then it's going to have a big pop when it does break that way. If they just snap it now and just like it's nothing, then that's just going down the road WWE's doing. And so Tony Khan needs to be smart about how he's going to break it up. But I'm pretty sure the Young Bucks have probably thought this through years ago, how they want to break it up.
We're going to get to Mr. Callis in a bit. Awesome. So we also announced on this that Adam Cole announced that him and the Young Bucks are going to be taking on Cage and the Jurassic Express next week, which I'm not mad at. Should be a great match. Happy with that. Next was just want to mention CM Punk. I know you mentioned briefly there, Zane, on the commentary. I'm starting to get fed up with this CM Punk lock. You know, don't know what everyone else is. It seems to be that CM Punk comes out, he talks, he names an opponent, he fights them, then he talks some more, and now it's like he's on next week against who's he fighting next week?
Powerhouse Hobbs.
That's it. Sorry about that, Hobbs. And it's like, okay, well, after this one, start giving a story for him, start getting him involved in a proper storyline. You know, you can say Brian come in and Brian Danielson, and he's been thrown straight into this Kenny Omega storyline. Great. I knew they were never going to put Punk there because he needs to have some matches. He needs to build towards this. He hasn't. He must be rusty after having so much time out. But it's like it's starting to get annoying now, where it's kind of like, what do you see? And Punk, let's just put him out there.
Yeah.
It's like, don't start getting into the habit of lazy booking. Let's start booking something now.
Yeah, I feel like I have to agree with you here because he's right now he's happy to be here, Phil, and I like wrestling. I'm a wrestling fan, and I want to face this guy. I want to face this guy. I want to face that guy, and I think we could have done something big following All Out. We could have gone CM Punk versus MJF, and that would have been a big feud, and that would have had a really amazing story. But right now, I think this is sort of a waiting period. They're giving Punk guys he wants to face to get his ring rust totally removed and get familiar with the ring. I'm not saying that he's really off point right now.
But if that's the case, he needs to be wrestling every week. Do you not think?
Well, if anything, if CM Punk's got a bit of ring rust, why doesn't he wrestle a few dark matches?
Or why is he not wrestling every week?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like if I had to answer that question, I would say that Punk, they don't want to overexpose CM Punk right now because he's an asset which is very huge.
Whether he's wrestling or they're throwing him in the ring, are they not just overexposing him anyway?
No, I feel like CM Punk getting inside the ring in a wrestling capacity has its own feel to it because I wasn't excited for CM Punk's segment last week, but I am excited for CM Punk wrestling next week. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on to my man, the main man in AEW, no matter what any of you say, MJF. What a guy. Yeah. What a guy. What a promo.
I love him.
Oh. Yeah. Do you know, if he isn't the champion within the next 12 months, Tony Khan's an idiot.
Yeah, something's wrong if he's not champion soon.
Yeah.
It's just
I had to ask you guys a question. So I was discussing with Jimmy last week as well. Who do you think are the next 3 AEW World Champions? And my guess, I'll start off first, was Hangman, MJF, and for God's sake, please let it be Eddie Kingston. But that wouldn't happen. So who do you think are the next 3 AEW
I think champions? The first two are correct. Adam Page, MJF, and then I believe Bryan Danielson.
Oh, what about you,
CM Punk?
I agree with the first two, and the last one I really wouldn't have a clue. I'd say looking at how everyone's going, I'd say Eddie Kingston would probably be would be a good choice to build up a rivalry again with like someone like John Moxley again and bring him back into the title picture. But or Jungle Boy, or Jungle Boy
back the Shield soon, mate.
Yeah, or Jungle Boy even have him go for the world title.
Miro, there are too many guys.
Yeah, I think Jungle Boy should be going after the television title soon. I mean, if there's any justice in it, then it should be Adam Page, MJF, and then Darby Allin.
Yeah, Adam Page definitely deserves it, and Darby Allin deserves another good, decent shot at it as well.
Yeah. You know, I mean, but you've got loads. There's lots of people there. You've got Orange Cassidy. I think he's probably a good. Orange Cassidy for me would be hilarious as the TNA champion. Yeah. Because he's just so lazy in his character, and it's like, what? I have to defend it every week. You know, it's just
you
know, it'd be a great little story.
The internet would break if Orange Cassidy becomes world champion. You know, they went insane when he took on Chris Jericho, and that was for all the right reasons. You know, it was just so unbelievable that and the way Jericho put him over. I'm not a huge fan of the gimmick, but when you sit down and you watch it, you put all your gripes aside, you enjoy it a lot more. So it's like you sit back and you relax like he wants you to, and then you enjoy it a lot more. That's one of the things I love about it. So if he was to become world champion, I'd tune back in on a regular basis to see how he does.
Okay, so we've got next, we had FDR versus Seidel and Martin. Just going to skip over this because we need to be getting on. We haven't got much time left. Obviously, we want to keep it for the time limit. Just one thing I do want to say on this match, though, is it's the same with everything. Let them out of WWE. They're going to do well. You know, the AEW will know to use them. They do not know how to use FTR. Nobody know. If anything, I think FTR have been exposed since they've gone to AEW from WWE because they're not great. They're just a bog standard old boring tag team. And
Come on, Andy, don't say that. I love FTR.
Boring, mate. No gimmick, no thingy. Just why would you want them as the tag team champions? And I think they had the same problem in WWE, and it's starting to show this in AEW now for me.
I mean, like I actually am a big fan of FTR, but we have to keep it within the time limit. So.
No, it's not that. It's honest to God, it's just more for the fact because I just feel like I'm not saying they're not good workers, and I don't like them in ring, but I just feel like the whole thing. But anyway, that's for another discussion. We had Cozy Rhodes and Malachi Black. Malachi Black was coming in with his entrance, yada yada yada. Got jumped on from the car by Rosario Dawson. Cozy come in, they fall through the crowd, set up the match next week. Job done. Then we had Chris Jericho come out and arguing with Lambert, and the funniest thing about this whole segment was how awkward did the American top team look in the ring. They just look like you know what I mean? I think I said in my AEW takeaways, wrestling needs to learn that MMA doesn't always transition well into wrestling.
Yeah, they had the American top team on Impact Wrestling doing something with Bobby Lashley, and when Bobby Lashley was facing with Moose, and the American top team, those guys who just don't know how to work in a wrestling ring. They full credit to them as what they do, but they need someone behind them to act as a manager, because they just can't add that emotion and that aura that you want from a performer.
Okay, so sorry, go on, Zane.
Yes, so I was saying one small thing I would want to add. You said the most awkward thing about that was the American top team. I thought the most awkward thing about that was Dan Lambert going and ranting about all these independent stars who are doing 960s and flips and shit. And who comes out? The young up and coming independent indie darling Chris Jericho, right? Like I thought someone else was going to be the one who makes a save. Let's go ahead.
Okay, so we had Jay Cargill versus Layla Hirsch. One thing I've noticed that obviously, we're not going to spend too much time on this, but I believe they're starting to push Jay Cargill here because she's racking up wins week by week, just very quietly. They've obviously put her with Smart Mark, which was a good move. They give her a voice box that, helps her out. And obviously she won again here. I see her as a future challenger for the women's world title, and I think they're slowly but surely building her on this.
Yeah. I agree. But she's a bit green.
And that's why giving her Smart Marks being very, a masterstroke in my eyes.
Yeah. I feel like Smart Mark's a great guy.
Yeah. And he's also very experienced, which will help Jade as well. Then we had Darby Allin versus Sean Spears. Yeah, there's a match. Darby won with the coffin drop. I think Darby deserves more than this at the moment, but I suppose he's got to tread water a bit before he'll get his next lot, which happens. Then we had, after the match, FTR come back out. Tully hit Sting with a chair and Sting no-sold it, which I thought was really cool. I'm really liking the way that they're presenting Sting here. But then FTR attacked Sting and he wiped his face paint off with a towel. And I was very confused with this. I don't know where they're going with this, but obviously they're trying to do something. But one thing I will say is, as much as I'm not understanding what the reason was for the face paint coming off or this attack after the bell and whatever else, I'm interested to see where it goes. So, fair dues, they've got my attention there. Then we've got my favourite part of the night. We had Danielson come out to have an interview with Tony Schiavone. He asked Brian about the potential match with Kenny Omega. Then my man Don Callis walks out. Some of my favourite ones were hippie millionaire, carny piece of shit. I tell you what, he's just a great promo, isn't he? He's a great promo. But this was done very well. You know, Brian saying it's not about the belt. He wants to test himself against the best, which I think's brilliant considering it's one of the main reasons he come over to AEW. From what he was saying, he wanted to go against some of the best wrestlers.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then he turned around and kind of started to antagonize Omega. Omega took the bait in the end and he agreed to fight next week. Great match for me. The only pickle I've got for this one is I don't want to see anybody win clean. And it's the first time I've said this in a match in a long time. You know, don't get me wrong, I predict that they might do a bit of a swerve with a match. But my perfect ending to this one would be a time limit draw.
Yeah, that's the main theory going around, isn't it? But here's what I want. I want Kenny Omega to beat Brian Danielson clean. So you're building Omega for Hangman. So when Hangman finally defeats Omega, now obviously this is quite awkward because you build the challenger to face the champion. But let's say Omega beats Brian Danielson clean, and he brings back the more serious attitude. He shaves off his beard, and Hangman defeats that version of Omega, the best bout machine, the cleaner, the god of professional wrestling, and that would have a much greater effect, and that would put Hangman all over. But I'm all for a time limit draw as well.
There's big money to be made in that feud later down the line, and just one match throwaway. And that was about it, really. We had Jon Moxley and your man in a put them on TV match.
It was the main event, man. It was the main event of the show.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I suppose okay. And then obviously we know that they're gonna face Archer and Suzuki next week on Dynamite, which
Grand Slam,
yeah, which is fine. You know, it's gonna be a good match in that. But
one question I had to ask you about. One question I had to ask you about Grand Slam was I'm not sure you were done, but who do you think do you think anyone would return possibly, because it's a big show and it's one of the most stacked cards they've ever presented on TV?
Bray Wyatt.
Ooh, I feel like Hangman returns. But I'm all for Bray Wyatt. I think he can debut. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I think Bray Wyatt is the most likely one if someone from the app is to make a debut. You know, he's on a no compete clause. Doesn't mean he can't go and appear anywhere. You know, I'd like to see him come to Impact Wrestling, but I think that there's a higher chance that he's going to be going to AEW. And I know this next lot of tapings is at his Brody Lee's hometown as well. And the rumors have been flying around that he's intending to go there.
This is the problem though as well with AEW right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have got big matches in Moxley and Kingston versus Suzuki and Archer. We've got Omega versus Bryan, and there's still people like yourself saying who's asked it, but there's more people that are more insisted. Who's going to debut? Who's going to debut? AEW need to move away from that now.
Yeah.
Move away from the debuts, move away from expecting a big debut on each show, and start getting the storylines correct and getting the hyping the matches correctly, and getting it right that way, because you can't just keep on signing talent. It can't happen. So sooner or later they've got to start getting it right where people aren't asking who's going to debut. They're more interested in the matches on the card and what's going to happen on the card rather than
a bit spoiled, aren't they?
And that's where, to be honest with you, I think the Page return will be a good one, because that's somebody returning rather than debuting.
Yeah.
So it gives you a bit of a different dynamic. Okay, so we'll next week's going to be really interesting. Rampage wasn't very good at all. It was pretty poor, to be honest. You had DMD and Ruby Soho have a bit of a get together. We had Brian Danielson and Kenny Omega. We had Anna Jay and the Bunny versus take the rival to the next level. And then we had Miro versus Del Sol. Good match, the last one. Apart from that, the show was the pants. I feel like until AEW stops putting it as a 1 hour show, it's just going to be like a WWE shotgun Saturday night or Sunday night heat for me until they put it to 2 hours. That's why, to be fair, I'm looking forward to next week with the 2 hour special. see what they can actually do, because at the moment it just seems like it's a bit clunky, that show, and it's not really worth watching.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, Rampage isn't doing anything for me right now.
No. I mean, to be fair, I know Tony Khan didn't want to go to 3 hours with AEW, but if he's here with Dynamite, but if he's churning out the content well enough, why not go to 3 hours rather than have a 1 hour show that's not really doing anything? You know, I feel like, you know, you need to make that show a bit more. It needs to be 2 hours to tell the story. It's just a quick. It's over too quickly for me, and it doesn't give you the time. And it's trying to instead, you know, you could in that show, if you think about it, 1 hour sometimes in Raw, you have a segment in a match.
Yeah.
Where in AEW, they're trying to pop 2 or 3 matches in that 1 hour, and if you take into account commercial breaks, you're probably only talking about 40 minutes of actual action. So I think that's the, you know, it's one of them where it ruins it. But we move on to next week. A lot of stuff that we can go through on next week. We've got obviously the AEW Grand Slam. We've got Rampage. Raw, SmackDown should be good because they're the go home editions for Extreme Rules. We've got NXT 2.0/1. So we'll see how we get on with it. So, guys, thanks for joining us as always. You know, it's always a pleasure. Joe, thank you so much for your TNA input. It's always very welcome and very informative. Zane, you know, opinions is always.
Got the Fallout for Victory Road next week as well.
Yeah, so we've got a lot. Yeah, exactly. So we've got a lot to get through next week, which is cool. Guys, just before we do go, just to make everybody aware that we are now on Spotify. So you'll be able to catch us on Spotify. Obviously, if you can't sit there and watch our videos on YouTube, and you're in work, or you do what I do when I'm on the trains and whatnot, and I can pop my headphones in and listen to me Spotify and listen to catch up on some of my podcasts, you'll be able to do that. The description, the link for the Spotify will be in the comments here. There's some exclusive interviews on there as well. We will be putting some content on there that you may not see on YouTube or vice versa. So please check out both the platforms to keep up to date with all our content and that. But guys, thanks again, boys. Where can we find you, Joe? Let's go first.
You can follow me on Twitter at JKEmptySpace, and there we go.
Zane?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. Please follow me, ZenPW. My 69 follower coin count was ruined. It's now more than 69, so might as well aim for 69,000. Please follow me.
Brilliant. And Zane, we know you do some writing content as well. Where can we find your content?
Yeah, TWM, Sportskeeda. I transcribed Dutch Mantel this morning, his views on the plane ride from hell. And I write news for Sportskeeda. I write features for TWM. I'll hopefully start writing for WrestleBuddy as well. So please follow WrestleBuddy everywhere. YouTube, Twitter, wherever you can find them.
And you can always find me, guys, all over WrestleBuddy. So I don't even need to show you my handles because it's all over the WrestleBuddies wherever you find us. So you can find me there. I am very interactive with everyone on Twitter. And also in the comments here, so get your comments in, because we will start doing a bit of a section on comments. If we get some comments off there, people will do a little bit of a 5-minute Q&A on one of these videos as we go along. So make sure you do get your comments in the video, okay? But until next time, WrestleBuddies, thank you very much from all of us. And thanks for joining us again. And we will see you next week. Take care.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.